Always check your face before you start your video. Sorry guys, my gimbal is being a little bit slow because it's very cold. So what is up guys? Welcome back. For those of you who are seeing this due to Jess from Roots and Refuge putting out my gimbal is not liking the cold. So if I wander off into the nether. But thank you, Jess, for putting out probably the nicest, most selfless challenge, not a challenge, collab opportunity for everybody, any creator, every creator, for a specific purpose, a specific topic.
Avocado Kitty, were you hunting in that jungle over there? Yes? Come to escape the wind and I get followed by a pesky cat. Avocado, hush. All right, my idea. So I've read a lot of books pertaining to homesteading and I have a few recommendations, but I wanted to invite you guys to share. So I thought it would be really cool if we could do a collaboration. Avocado. If we could do a collaboration together. I have the capacity to put information in front of a lot of people. I consider that a gift that I've been given, something I've been given to steward. And I want to create a playlist for book recommendations, for solid information. And I want to essentially open that up to you, those of you, ooh, sorry, avocado just went right under the tripod. For those of you who are content creators, kitty, never a dull moment. Okay, for those of you who are content creators, to make a video, title it something along the lines of my book recommendations or solid information or something like that, and you can put Roots and Refuge collab in the title. That will help the algorithm pick it up because if it has my name in the title, and then from there I will take those videos. You can comment them on this video, just comment them. You can send them to my socials. I'm gonna have, let's say for the next month, I can promise we'll keep eyes on it for the next month. I'm gonna make a playlist that it will be highlighted here on my channel, and then I'll make my video sharing as well that this playlist is going. I'll do mine in about 2 weeks. That'll give you guys a chance to kind of start getting these in, and I want you to share your book recommendations that are solid information that you have tested. So don't just grab a book off your shelf that you've never read. You know, don't just grab one that you heard someone else recommend. If you only have one book that you want to highlight, that's fine. If you've got like 5 that you want to highlight, if you've read a lot of them, that's fine. So these are going to be resources that pertain to food growing and basically this lifestyle. So think along the lines of homesteading, animal husbandry, gardening, traditional skills, plant medicine, plant ID, mushroom ID, anything in that general vicinity, things that you think people who are going to be trying to go into the self-sufficient lifestyle, information that they would need. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. And please do take part in our collaboration. If you've been on the fence about creating content, feeling like you ought to, you just haven't pulled the trigger yet, this might be your moment. Go ahead and contribute to our playlist of book recommendations.
Before we get too far in, I am Sean. Our channel is Zioncreekfarm. We primarily focus on breeding and selling high quality Nigerian dwarf goats. They are a very small breed. They are a dairy goat. We also utilize the milk from our goats to create a goat milk soap. We also utilize the milk from our goats. Sorry, hold on one second. This is baby Orion, AKA Rai Rai. I don't have an avocado kitty, but I have a baby Rai Rai. Let's just show you the girls too while we're at it, I guess. It's about 27 degrees. So the girls are just kind of chilling in the barn. We have our does in this barn. And then we have our Bucky boys. That's what I call them. Then we have our Bucky boys out here in this barn. So since I don't have a avocado kitty, I have a baby Rai Rai, just keep in mind that I might have to move around a lot. I don't like stagnant video anyway. I squirrel a lot. I kind of like, I wanted to do this video all serious and blah, 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 and not be me. And I thought that's not right. But Jess gives me this, every time I watch one of her videos, she gives me this like chill vibe, just mellow, low key. And I thought, well, Baby Rai Rai. Knock it off. I mean, not literally, don't knock it off. But I don't want you guys to show up at my channel if you choose to subscribe. I don't want you to show up here and think that I'm the serious guy that's talking about serious topics every day. We focus on how we raise our goats to make the milk, to make our soap. I wouldn't say that we're homesteading, but what is homesteading? It's gonna definitely mean different things to different people. I like the idea of blending a little bit of prepping with a little bit of self-sufficiency, which I would consider homesteading, which is providing for yourself. But Jess is doing this whole other thing, and I think it's fantastic. She, at least I feel like what she's trying to do is create this actual community, this homestead community, whether it's amongst... The gimbal would like you to look over there. Whether it's amongst the YouTube community or your local community. We have an amazing community around here. It's as simple as starting a community Facebook page, letting everybody know, they'll tell their friends. And then you have your little community where you can reach out and buy, sell, trade, and or just help. So many people, and I've had this actually said to me in the last year, so many people get locked into this self-sufficiency is not asking anybody for anything. I get it, but I don't think it's right. Homesteading, I don't think has ever been, yes, you need to be self-reliant, but I don't think it's ever been a Rambo scenario where you're the last man standing, you're the lone survivor, you're the only man out there, and if it does, you can't do it, it can't get done. People want to help people, and that's kind of brings us right back around to this video. Jess really wants to help people, and she was talking about how people are creating content with AI, and then that video, the comments blew up. People didn't know this was happening. The problem was that the AI was doing whatever it wants, and then the people behind it are trying to make money off of said videos, said book, PDF, whatever content they're creating, aren't fact-checking or double-checking to make sure what they're putting out there is correct. So Jess's idea, it sounds like, everybody to pull together their favorite books, make a video about it if you can, if you're a content creator. I'm sure if you're not a content creator and you want to drop said book in the comments, you'll be able to get that info out there for people. Guys, I'm sorry, hold on. We'll just go old school. The gimbal was freaking killing me. So to the crux of the video, I have a book that I love, that I have used. That was one of her things. Please don't just pull a book off your shelf. I like basics. And to me, if you start with basics, you can build from there. You use the basic principles, and then when it goes wrong, which it does, that's how you learn. And so with those basic principles, you can build on that. You grow from that. You develop techniques and skills. You pass those down. You learn what it takes to... Welcome to goats. If you're not familiar with goats, they have one question. It's a two-parter. Will it knock over? And if I can knock it over, will it break? Rai Rai just climbed up here, walked out on that pallet, jumped off and took the broom with him. Hit another goat. Anyway, that's goats. Look, y'all, I'm a little bit redneck. So I made this little board in here with this stool on it because I knew if I tried to do anything out there with a book, the goats are gonna eat it. But my book is The Lost Ways. This will give you the basic principles for so many things. I started tagging stuff, and then I didn't want to make this a book report. In my videos, when I make videos for you guys, I do not supply links. I do not supply links to the research that I've read, because I want you, if I'm giving you information, it's from me to you, it's a starting point, but I prefer that you do your own research. So the Lost Ways book, basically Claude Davis who is Ask a Prepper, pulled together 15 authors and or their work and edited it into this book. To me, the greatest thing to start off with right there is fire. Fire is life. So it starts with fire, and then there's a ton of recipes, just recipe after recipe. And I think one of the coolest things I had seen was when Jess put out this video, this call out for the collab, were the comments in that video alone about people. This doesn't have to be a way of life. It can be a skill. It can be a hobby. If you've done what you want to do in life and you just want a hobby, find a hobby that will benefit you if need be. And I'm not going to run through this entire book, guys. Just know that there are recipes after recipes, starting topics of a lot of information from the Native Americans, which always, I mean, to live that life was all you really would need to know to homestead, how to raise your own food, how to raise your own meat, how to cure your meat. The supermarket of the swamp, I didn't know you could do so much stuff with cattails. I've eaten cattails roots. I've never eaten the head. They're a little potato-y, but also not so much. Not my favorite, but to keep you alive. Purifying water, how sailors did it, how different cultures around the world have done it, how one of my favorites is the Japanese water purification with charcoal. Fantastic. Basic principles, but the Japanese have done it in a way that just makes it easier. So I wanted to get to this one here, just because the two that I've done, my son and I actually made what is known as hardtack. So hardtack is this, it's to be very short, hardtack is pretty much an unleavened bread. And it is very similar to a saltine cracker, but it's harder, like a rock. So we actually made hardtack for his scout troop once. They didn't love it, but you know, they weren't hungry after. Jump back. I do want to jump back because, I'm sorry guys, I don't want to make this video too long. I just want I want to touch on just a couple topics. He's talking about his grandparents told me of a time when you made the most of what you had, no matter how little that was. That might be the best representation of homesteading, utilizing your resources. It's a new age, y'all. The homesteaders that I watch on YouTube are just, it's mind-boggling to me what you guys are doing. And getting the time to do that just will change your life. When you look at things like consumerism has reached epic proportions. People feel aggrieved if they don't own the latest gadget and struggle to cope without the internet, unable to entertain themselves. That is a fact. And the last line for you guys that I tagged, humans need to connect again. So very much truth in that. But to flip through the book a little bit, like I said right out of the gate, was the most important thing, which is, to me, fire. Fire is life. This is the hardtack. Now, the only downside to this book to me is the pictures are in black and white, which isn't necessarily a detriment here. When you get into the plant identification, it gets a little sketchy. We'll talk about that in a second. The other thing that is amazing is pemmican. So if you had hardtack and pemmican is basically taking your meat, drying it, rendering all the fat, and then storing the meat in the fat to preserve it basically forever. So pemmican is basically the original beef jerky, and as long as you kept it away from moisture and out of the sunlight, it would essentially keep forever. How to build a smokehouse. There are pictures. They're detailed enough for me that I could just take this and run with it and build it however I wanted based off of the concept. And that, to me, is another major thing with homesteading, is take the concept and run with it. Which plastics to use for which item you want to store or not. This has meaning to me. How our ancestors made candles and glue out of pine resin. Well, I'll tell you what, pine resin goes a lot deeper than that. And anybody who's looking to do anything from this book, I would suggest, if you want to, I've copied this entire book. This is my dad's book. Dad, sorry, I still have your book. I don't think he knows I still have it. I photocopied this entire book, so I have a backup. But I would suggest, if you want to do something like this, take this concept of pine resin. They're shouting out for glue and candles, and turn it into this amazing salve. So last year, 2 years ago, just to let you know, it was that color when I made it. It's still that color now. I was reading through this book and I came across this part, and I thought my wife's hands tend to crack in the winter, so I would try this. So I took, what can I do with pine sap? And I found a salve recipe. So basically, I traded eggs. I went up on our property up here. We have some pines up here. I did this exact technique. I hung a little container right here at the bottom of the triangle, filled that container with pine resin. I went to my neighbor down the road. She's a beekeeper. I traded her eggs for some beeswax. And we make soap, like I said, so I have several different fragrances laying around the house. I took my wife's favorite fragrance. I combined the beeswax and pine resin and this is not greasy at all, guys. This goes on, dries in. It's so moisturizing, it's not even funny. So I actually made this for my wife. I went to the dollar store and got these little magnetic containers. She sticks it on the fridge right there. If she needs it, she can take it down and use it. That made my day, that made her day, and this book was worth every penny after that. So now, see, and this is the part I wanted to, kind of the last part I really want to touch on as far as the plant identification. This is what I was saying about that little nugget of information. Take that nugget and run with it. You're not going to be able, unless you're already relatively familiar with wild lettuce, this is not going to help you go out in the field and find wild lettuce. There's no chance. It's just not. It's unsafe to me. Never eat a plant if you don't know what it is. But what you can do instead is go online while the internet still exists. Find your wild lettuce. Print a color picture. Laminate it if you want. Put it in a book. Find a good website that'll tell you everything that you can do with the wild lettuce, which part of it's are good to eat when. A lot of plants are best in the spring because they're young, and as they get old, they get bitter. But take the concept and just run with it. Find your own, make your own plant book, something that you can carry around with you, something small that you could throw in your backpack if you're hiking or something like that. I am not familiar enough with every single plant that exists in Ohio that I would be comfortable just walking around eating. I would love to find someone who would come out to the farm and we could do a tour and show people how they could basically survive eating out of their yard. But that is for a later video. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip back to the table of contents for you guys before I finish this. And I'm just going to run down through real quick so you can kind of get a feel of what exists in here. Fire, of course, as I said. And this is another topic here. Look up the U.S. Army. I think it's SAS Survival Manual. It's a fantastic book. Packed with recipes. If you like to cook, it's very, very in-depth recipes of things that you could just play around with. If you like to cook, try something cool. Not spider cornbread. First of all, I'm gonna burn that page. Don't do that. Don't do spider corn. I don't know what that is. It better not be actual spiders. Recipes. Okay, smokehouse. And on top of the smokehouse, obviously, is how to smoke meat the right way. How to preserve water, long-term, filtering. Candles and glue, I already talked about that one for you guys. How to pull together a posse, just in case you need, you know, the situation arises. There's a section on posses right there. Foraging, so wildcrafting your table. Again, create a book, a color book for that. Don't just create the book. Make sure you find pictures of when the plant is young and when the plant is old. How to make bread out of tree bark. That is fascinating. I've not tried that yet. It is something I am interested in trying. Sourdough starter, you could have that for the rest of your life. The things that are in the book will just, it'll keep you in a good place, and you can use the concepts to create your homestead. But like, because when I'm reading and the title is Trapping in Winter for Beaver. Why trap, the best places to trap, habitats, types of traps, finding trails, setting traps, underwater trails, right down to tanning if you're into tanning and making your own leather goods. Poultice. This is a good read, and let me flip to that page. So, using herbs to heal wounds. This was actually taken from a book from 1794, The Medicine Made of English Herbs. This is going to go over not everything out there. You find what works, find what you need. Root cellars, that's a fantastic read. All about finding the space, the proper conditions, even down to lighting, how you're going to light your, so storage ideas, good old-fashioned cooking on an open flame. That is something we should all know. Navigation, even if you don't want to learn to navigate, it's pretty cool to be able to go out and look at the stars and say, okay, that's east, that's west, that's north, that's south. Someone in our family actually makes their own beer. There's actually a section in here on making your own beer and some stronger stuff. This one is very interesting to me. If you don't know what SHTF is, you might have to go look that up. But this whole section here is about pew-pews, how they work, how to make your own things that come out of the pew-pew, how to make gunpowder, and I'm not sure if I can say that or not. Hygiene can give you a very positive mental outlook on your situation. Some survival lessons, so making toothpaste. I know a lot of people are moving away from industrial made products like soap, like toothpaste, and deodorants, shampoos, all that kind of stuff. As Jess sometimes does, she can't find herself stopping the video. I do get a little chatty. But I want to just give, if you guys are still here, I want to give you the greatest thank you ever from small channels like ours this is going to impact so many lives of so many small channels. The hardest thing about YouTube is people don't know you exist, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. If people don't know you exist, they don't watch your channel, they don't subscribe, and people get frustrated and then they quit. So thank you from us and every other small channel or large, whatever channel out there that decides to participate in this. And I'm gonna call it right there, guys. It's gonna be a really long video already. Baby Rai, I'll leave you with that. He has decided to take a nap in the middle of the hay, which is just adorable. Guys, I shoot a video every single day. You don't have to watch every day. You can look for my titles. My titles are always very descriptive of what is actually happening in the video. I don't do clickbait. I don't do fake titles. I like to keep you guys informed. When you do a video log every single day, I personally think it's important to let people know this is exactly what's happening on the farm. This is what we're doing. And I put that right in the title, so you never have to guess. And we would love for you guys to hang out with us and support every other channel that's popping a video in for Jess, and not just for Jess, but because of Jess, for the world. And also, right at the end, very right at the end, make copies of everything. Hard copies, paper copies, make copies. Just in case the internet doesn't exist one day.